McIntyre.
Here, Sergeant.
Les Paul and Mary Ford.
Here, Sergeant.
All are present and accounted for, so let's go to town. Welcoming you all to a happy session here in the Armory. We have a big crowd here, but my buddies and your neighbors in the National Guard can always find room for one more. And I know we'll have to find room for a lot of you because there'll be music by our National Guard Band of the Month, Al McIntyre and his orchestra.
I think we warmed up a couple of our best numbers for this session, Sarge.
Fine, Hal, but just keep them bubbling on one of the back burners for a moment or two because we have business with our special stars of the month, Les Paul and Mary Ford.
Seems to me that Les made a rash promise last week, Sergeant.
Well, it was a promise, but there was nothing rash about it. I just promised you'd sing a couple of real big favorites.
And so Mary can prove that Les is a man of his word. Here is Johnny is the Boy for Me.
Johnny is the boy for me. Always knew that he would be. But I never caught his eye. He would always pass me by. Never had a glance for me. Though I loved him from the start, and I told my eager heart, Johnny is the boy for me. Johnny is the boy for me. Always knew that he would be. Though he doesn't know my name, I will play a waiting game, knowing he will come to me. Ever since the world began, woman always got her man, and Johnny is the boy for me. Johnny is the boy for me. Always knew that he would be. And one day he came my way, having only this to say, darling, will you marry me? It was easy to decide. Yes, my darling, I replied, Johnny, you're the boy for me. Johnny, you're the boy for me.
Well, that certainly keeps half of your promise, Les, because that's certainly a big favorite, especially with the teenagers.
You know, Sarge, it seems to me that the teenagers of today have a lot more problems than we ever did when we were teenagers.
Well, for one thing, they have to figure out when they're around 17 or 18 how they can work out their military service without completely disrupting their important last year in high school, first year in college, or the new job they've just started. That's a lot for a teenager to cope with.
The sergeant is a fellow with a solution to that particular problem.
Well, the ideal solution, of course, is to join the National Guard. And here's why. In the Guard, you can normally fulfill your military obligation with minimum of interruption to your career or your schooling. You train right in your local National Guard unit, and it's possible to conveniently arrange your 6 months of active training with little interruption to your education or job. What's more, you get pay and retirement benefits in the Guard, too. That's why I suggest that you fellas between 17 and 18 and a half talk it over soon at your National Guard Armory. You get a good deal in the Guard. more McIntyre music later on. Right now, Les and Mary oblige with Goodbye, My Love.
Goodbye, my love. Goodbye. Goodbye, my love. Goodbye. Till someday when we meet again. Goodbye, my love. Goodbye. Don't cry, my love. Don't you cry. Though we must part, I leave my heart. Goodbye, my love. Goodbye.
It's safe to say that everybody hates to hear Les Paul and Mary Ford say goodbye, but that's a wonderful way to do it. And before Hal McIntyre says goodbye, I have a question to get off my mind. Hal, when a band tours as much as yours does, what does a musician do with his spare time in a strange town?
All movies, things like that. And of course, a lot of the fellows will head for the nearest airport to watch the planes.
Well, I guess everyone's fascinated by planes. And anyone who's fascinated by a flying career always heads for the nearest Air National Guard base. That's quite an adventure. And for anyone who wants to fly, be a navigator, observer, or aviation mechanic, the Air National Guard offers quite an opportunity. You don't need any previous military experience to enlist in the Air Guard. And you'll learn all about radar, electronics, communications, flying, and jets. Anything you need to know for a great career in civilian aviation. If you're between 17 and 35 and can meet the requirements, you're set. So stop by your local Air National Guard headquarters and get the facts. You'll get a good deal in the Guard. It's the Hal McIntyre Band, Jerry Galler on tenor, and Tiny's Blues. just got started, but it's really time to chase everybody out of the armory until the usual time next week. But of course, we can't lock up before we give a grateful low bow in the direction of our National Guard Band of the Month, Al McIntyre and his orchestra. Thanks for the fine tunes, Hal.
I'm the one who should be doing the thanking, Sarge. I had a great time.
That's swell. Come back again when you can. I'd better deliver 2 low bows now, one for each of our stars of the month, Les Paul and Mary Ford.
Well, you know our number, Sarge.
Anytime you need us, just pick up the phone and we'll head for the armory.
That's all I want to know. Thanks. Hope it'll be soon. And my buddies and I all hope that we'll have a big listening audience at the usual time next week, when our National Guard Band of the Month will be those fabulous Dorseys, Tommy and Jimmy, and our singing star of the month will be Mindy Carson. Sounds great, doesn't it? You better join us then. This is Sergeant Jim Collins inviting you on behalf of my buddies, your friends and neighbors in the National Guard, who keep America strong by keeping their guard up. Les Paul and Mary Ford were brought to you through the courtesy of Listerine.
The National Guard is ready on the land and in the air. The National Guard is ready to defend you everywhere.
This is Sergeant Jim Collins suggesting you listen now for news of your local National Guard unit.